Hey, this is Jonah Haddad. I just wanted to share with you guys a couple of thoughts on how to ask good introductory or icebreaker questions in your small group or Bible study. And the reason I think this is important is because there are a lot of people who may be intimidated sharing a lot of thoughts and deep reflections on a biblical text. So if there are ways you can draw them in by asking good introduction questions, that's really something that I think is going to add some value to your study. So there are a couple of ways to approach that. One way really is just to ask general questions. You can ask your group to share a highlight from their week, maybe something that surprised them that week, something that disappointed them. You could even go into questions about, what's your favorite movie? What's a favorite book that you've read? What's a favorite childhood memory? Or things like that. So you could go that route. But something I also like to do when possible is to ask a question that relates specifically to the biblical passage you're going to be studying that day. So let me give you a couple examples. In one of the small groups that I lead, we've been working our way through the book of Revelation. And so when you get to chapters 2 and 3 of the book of Revelation, the Apostle John is addressing these different churches, 7 churches in Asia Minor. And so each one kind of has a different theme. So here's an example. So to the church in Ephesus, one of the major themes in that particular passage that John is looking at is this idea of abandoning your first love. So one of the questions I asked as an icebreaker, as an introduction in my group, is for them to think about a time in their life when they loved something that they no longer love. Maybe when they were a kid or something, they had a favorite toy or a book or something that they loved, but then as they grew, they forgot about it. They abandoned that first love. So that's just an example of one thing you could ask. Or to the church in Smyrna, for example, the big theme there is victory in Christ, victory in Jesus. So I asked the group to think about a time they experienced victory, maybe an event that they won, or a competition that they experienced victory. So that was just a good way to get people thinking, to get them engaged, to share a little bit from their past, from their life. One more example, the church in Sardis. The idea there is wake up from your spiritual slumber. So the question I asked our group to think about was, think of a time you overslept and maybe missed an important event or meeting or something like that. So these are just ways to get people engaged, because I think when you do that, you'll build some relational proximity in your group and just help people get to know each other better.